Welcome to Just Be You with Charles Clevenger. Sit back, relax, and let's go!
Right. So what was the driving force behind that? What prompts you to get into real estate? Because you don't see that too often in oil fields because you make good money in oil fields, right? Mm-hmm. So you're giving that up to go into real estate, which is kind of a question mark. And kind of you work in commission based for real estate, which is a commission based, man. You sink or swim, right? Mm-hmm. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so here's the thing, man. I always had an itch for real estate, but I never knew how exactly it was, right? I've always my mom always had a thing for like rehabbing, she has properties in Mexico. So every time we would go on vacation, she would always upgrade the property, like change tile or whatever. And I was always with her. So I've always loved the decor. Plus, I like fashion. So I would put together like styles of homes and interiors and things in my head. Right. But I never knew when it was going to kick in. But I knew I wanted to have a plan. So while I was in the military, I decided to sign up for real estate school. I took one class and never went back and finished. Still had my program paid for. So it was just kind of sitting there.
Yeah.
Fast forward 7-8 years, I decided to leave the oil field. And here's the thing. It's a lot of money, whatever. The thing that helped me is the fact that I didn't put myself in a position where I had no choice but to be in the oil field. A lot of my coworkers, they had to be there because of the circumstances. Maybe they had 5-6 kids, child supports, whatever you call it. They had to. If they don't go to work, they don't pay, they don't feed their family. I was single. To me, I was like, this is my time to risk and bank on myself because who knows? I'm not getting any younger. At some point, be able to make this move because now I got to think about family and stuff. So I just decided to quit one day. Called the same real estate school and I said, hey, can I pick up where I left off? They was like, yeah, go ahead and get started. Finish all my classes. By then, I was fully in. I was fully committed. I took all my money out of the 401k from the oil fields. I had a nice compensation when I quit. It was good. I had enough money to not do anything for 2 years if I wanted to, but that was not the goal. My goal, I gave myself 6 months.
So that's the thing with real estate, right? Like you need that
cushion, right?
That cushion, that buffer money, because it's commission based. Mm-hmm. And it takes time. And you hear me say this all the time to our agents. Real estate's not fast money. It's not easy money. But when it comes, it's good money. It may take 6 months for you to get going.
It may, yeah.
And guess
a
what?
Year, maybe.
These bill collectors aren't waiting 6 months, right? The mortgage for houses aren't waiting 6 months. Mm-hmm. That's good that you had that plan.
It just lined up.
You had that buffer, right?
It was all planned ahead of time. I didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm done. I made sure that my bank account would allow me to do that. And I just went full in. Now, I used to work 17, 18 hours in the oil field every day. We would clock in at 3:30 a.m. and clock out at 7:45 p.m.
Nah, homie.
Right?
That ain't my life anymore.
And I will still work out after that.
Oh, man.
So, go to bed at 9, but you're already counting 9, 10, 11.
That's grinding right there. That's
4 hours.
That's date myself, man. But when you say that, it reminds me of the song Clips Grinding. Mm-hmm. Right? That's grinding right there.
Yeah, that's real grind.
Yes.
Real grind, right?
Absolutely.
And you're driving by yourself to a location at 3:30, tired as hell.
Yeah.
On country roads.
It
gets, but here's the thing, right? Like I knew that was the perfect timing for me to take that risk. So I was all in. My mentality was if I used to put in 18 hours, if I could at least do 12 in real estate, I'm not good at it yet. I just started. I have to get good at it. If I put at least 12 a day, you believe you cannot cheat the system. And part of that is working and actually putting your 10,000 out. I knew. I said, okay, I might not be the best speaker. I might not be the best salesperson.
Hard work pays off.
But can't nobody drive more than me. Can't nobody show houses more than me. You're not going to scare me by telling me I got to drive an hour to show a house.
No one's going to outwork me.
I do it in my sleep. I would forget to eat when I was showing houses. That's how I came in. I met a guy at real estate school that actually was working for the company that we're with, the Levi Rogers Real Estate Group. And he approached me. He was like, hey, man, every time I see you, you always look like $1 million. Like, he was like, what do you do? Are you a lawyer or something? You're always wearing like designer and stuff. But this is just me. I didn't do it for people. This is just what Pedro likes to do. I was like, no, I'm not a lawyer. I'm actually just trying to get into real estate. I'm an engineer, but I would love to just find the best brokers for me. Right. He told me a little bit about the boss, Levi. He led with the military background.
Levi Rogers,
Levi Rogers, right? So I decided to set up an appointment. I called one of the mentors at that time, Jason.
The only mentor at that time.
The only mentor at that time.
Yeah, the OG, yeah.
I met him. We did an interview. And just like you, his first question was, if you're already making money like this, you're an engineer. Why? Why are you wanting to do this?
What's your why? Right?
Why not just stay with that job? I mean, in the eyes of a lot of people, you made it. I was like, but I don't control anything. I still have the job. I still need to put in those 18 hours a day, and if I don't do it, everything falls.
Of your life and where you're at, whatever industry you work in, whether it's Taco Cabana, military, fucking real estate. What's your why, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. As human beings, what's our why? Our why can be many things, but you have to have that why. Right? My why is my kid. It's my kids. It's not me. Me's out the door. I've lived a great life. I'm okay, but it's my kids, right?
Yeah. Beyond you, what drives the engine?
That's my why. And with you, I know your why. I know what your why is. It's your family, right? It's your wife, your daughter, and your dog rescue. No, I'm joking. Total joke, right? But yeah, it's part of your why, though.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
It's 100% part of your why.
1,000%.
I seen a meme today, man. God, it had a dog. It had like a puppy, right? Matter of fact, I think there's a couple dogs underneath our feet right now.
Yep. There's a couple binding my shoelaces right now.
God sent down angels without wings, or dogs basically,
right?
Disguise, or angels disguised as dogs
in a dog, yeah.
to see how we would treat them, right? So if you don't like dogs, or you don't treat dogs well, like I don't like you,
right?
I
judge when it comes to that.
100%. If you're not a dog person, if you don't like dogs, like
like what kind of person are you? Right?
Absolutely, man. We don't deserve dogs, man. They're loyal. Man, and what I like about dogs is they match our energy, right?
Yep.
If we're ready to party, they're ready to party. No matter what time it is, 3 a.m, 6 a.m.
They can feel bad and they still
11
be
o'clock.
the best version of themselves. But getting back to it, man, I met Levi.
Yeah.
I knew that was home.
The man with myth, legend, Levi. Yeah.
The legend, Levi Rogers, right? Great agent who had his own team, same type of mindset as ours, as mine.
Yeah.
So I found my home.
Yeah.
I didn't feel the need to interview with anybody else. I knew I had found my home. And I move off the vibes that I get from people.
Absolutely.
And I trust my instinct. And that gave me the instinct that I knew it was the right. So I just jumped on it. Started doing really well from the beginning.
There's not one time that
I felt me, bro.
With my gut that I've been wrong. And if I'm ever wrong,
you learn from it. It was a great thing. I
can't be mad because I went with my gut. Man, listen, that's
Stand
so
by
powerful.
It, right?
The spidey senses,
I believe in that.
100%.
I believe in that, and
you go with your gut.
Even if it's been in the eyes of other people wrong,
if it feels right to you,
it needed to happen.
Then it's right.
It needed to happen, bro. So I just came in super motivated.
I
didn't know who was the best. I just knew that I was willing to outwork anybody. It was almost at a point where who's the best? Point them out. And it's not even that I'm coming after you, but I'm going to demonstrate that you haven't seen anything like this before. That was my mentality coming in.
You try to take me, man. I get it, man. That's cool.
Charles was the man around that time. He had all the praises. And that's, for a guy like me, sometimes that's all you need to hear.
Me too. I need that, right?
And I was putting in work. I was putting in work every day. I was keeping track of the time. I gave myself 6 months, but in reality, the limit I gave my brain was 2 months. But I could tell myself 6. That was like my easy escape route if I didn't make it past the second by month number 2. Fast forward 2 months later, 2 houses under contract, and I'll tell you, once I picked up that ball, I never dropped it. Never dropped it.
And that's the thing with real estate. Sometimes you just need that first or second.
It's an alley-oop, bro.
Contract.
Yeah.
Right. To get your confidence. Right. You're like, okay.
To get a taste.
Taste, and it's validation that what you're doing is working.
Yes.
Right? And so it's just validation. So you're not questioning yourself anymore. You're always honing your skills, always getting better. Kind of what you're doing is working. And sometimes it takes a little longer to get that.
Absolutely. But the key is not to give up. You, more than anybody, knows that this job, if you don't have discipline and overall mental strength, you might not be here in 6 months. And not because you were not good enough, but because your mind was not strong enough to withstand with whatever it is that the process entails.
Mindset's everything. Everything.
Because it could be a month. If you hit it out and you might get lucky, and you might do amazing starting week 1. You might be the one who has to wait a year before you see a contract.
Absolutely. I mean, like for me, it took me 3 months.
What do you tell yourself, though, when you have a household and you're still in like a trial period and you constantly, even though you don't feel like you're succeeding, how hard is that you have to keep telling yourself, it's been 6-7 months, I haven't seen anything return, but somehow I still got to be positive about this and hope for the best and still go. That's tough.
It's tough because bill collectors don't wait, right? You got a lot of people have a family to feed. Right? They're dependent on that money.
Right.
So it's tough. You set yourself up for success because you kind of realize that, right? But a lot of people don't, right? And they're kind of chips all in and they bet on themselves. And a lot of times, actually, the money doesn't come quick. It's tough, man. But I think most people that bet on themselves win. Right. If you have enough confidence, enough cojones to say, hey, listen, I'm betting on myself. I'm 100% in, I'm committed. Whatever that is, whatever venture that is in your life, most people that do that and they see it through, they succeed. As long as they do their due diligence and really grind. Work hard
and stand by it, right?
Yes,
because all of us can come up with amazing plans to make it in life,
taking action,
but you're not going to do it unless you decide you're really committed.
You got to take that first step, right?
100%.
And then the next step and the next step.
That was my first step. I had all these bills from when I was making $200K that were maybe 10, 15 grand a month. And here I go to a job where I wasn't getting paid for the first couple months.
Yeah.
The 10, 15 grand a month were still coming, right? Bills. So that alone, I used it as fuel.
Problems. It's crazy, right?
I used it as fuel.
It's crazy how this shit works.
I better get this because I'm draining my bank account slowly but surely, right? It has to make sense. I have to keep on pushing.
Right.
And it just started going and going. I took pride in it. I wasn't just selling houses. Every time I made sure that I was learning something every closing. Every person I helped. And I just learned so much. But I wanted to be the guy that didn't bother too many people with questions.
Right.
And this is not to say that you cannot ask questions or that you shouldn't. I mean, if anything I would change, I would say I wish I would have asked more questions, but I'm just speaking for myself and how I function. For me, that's the type of guy I am. I wanted to learn everything as much as possible by myself, doing my research, dealing with my own stuff.
I'm the same way, man. And I think, unfortunately, for us, we have an ego. I don't want to ask questions because that's a chink in my arm. It means I don't know that shit. So I'm gonna Google that shit. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to find out that answer before I ask my higher ups or whoever that is the question. Because our ego, looking back, I should ask.
Right.
I think lesson learned.
I mean, I didn't make that many mistakes. Right, and the ones I did, I learned a lot.
Absolutely.
So looking back, I'm glad I did it the way I did it. Right.
And shout out to Levi. Right. And one thing I take from Levi is, and I think he does this in a, he does it in the right way. But wins and learns. Wins and learns. That's what I live by. I take that from him. Right. Because a lot of times we like to focus on the negatives. Who messed up? How they mess up? I messed up, and I focus on that negative. Right? But no. That's not a negative. That's a learn. This happened. What did we learn from it? Let's move on. And actually, learn is a win because we learn from it. So that's a small victory for me. Because I learned from that.
And I bet you won't have
to win. And it's not going to happen. Well, for me, it's going to happen at least one more time. And then I'm going to really learn.
It's happened to me.
Right. I'm hard-headed like that. But a learn turns into a win. So wins and learns. Man, listen. Real estate, whatever your industry is, whatever your life is, I think that mindset of wins and learn, if you just have that mindset, man, you'll be successful in whatever venture you take in. We know real estate, we know military, we know different things, but whether you're a busboy at a yard house, right? Whether you're a neuroscientist at a hospital, it's wins and learns, and it's that mindset. I credit Levi with that, just that mindset.
Great guy, man. He's just overall a great example. And in our team, we have core values, just like we do in the military. And going back to wins and learns, the one that really, I literally wake up thinking about this one is looking in the mirror before looking through the glass. Just like you said, what did we learn from this? But also being honest with yourself. What didn't I do right? What could I have done better?
And
because
there's always something.
If I'm doing something, and all these other people are winning and they're doing it too, I must not be doing exactly the same thing. Man, I'm doing something different or something wrong.
Absolutely.
But you just got to tell your brain and your ego that it's okay to look at it and say, this is not right.
And one of those things, look in the mirror before the glass, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so important. And it's funny, man, all this stuff kind of comes back to the military, right? Because I learned in the military, in the Army, I had a mentor tell me, right, when you point your finger at somebody, right, you got 3 fingers pointing back at you. That's profound. Like, man, I got 3 fingers pointing back at me. I should have
started here first.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. So the same thing. Look in the mirror before the glass, man, because we can always get better. We can always do something better, right?
Live by that.
Maybe that person's fault. What I do as a leader to prevent that or to steer that in a different direction where they could have been successful.
What could I have said? What type of coaching could I have done? How could I have communicated with this client better? Even though their perception I might not agree with, their perception is everything. And if they feel something, that's what they're going to feel. And I want you to feel exactly what it is that I want to keep.
Absolutely.
Right. So it's a whole lot that plays behind it, but it's all about training yourself and overall just dealing with embracing the journey. Because, I mean, in this generation, Charles, I mean, you're a little bit older, but I can tell you right now.
It's the Amazon generation, bro. We want instant gratification now. Yes. We want instant gratification right now. But, yeah, man, it's hard to, you got a young daughter. I got a 14-year-old daughter. I got a son. And it's hard to kind of convey to them and to kind of teach them, listen, I know what you see on TikTok. I know you see on Instagram and all the other social media platforms. Everything that's worth a damn, it's going to be hard work, and it's going to come in time. You're going to work for it. You're going to work your ass off. And when you receive it, when you get it, you're going to appreciate it a lot more.
In real estate, it's tough, man, because there are so many examples. This social media only shows the good parts of life. They don't really show the reality.
Right. The reality, yes.
So a lot of people, man, they watch all these people on TV that are in Lamborghinis selling houses, and that's their motivation as to why they want to do real estate. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't mean that that's your reality. And you have to be aware where you're at, where you stand, and what it takes for you to move up step by step to get to that point where you can be the guy on that TV with that car. But you're not just going to come in and a month later you have a Bugatti outside and you're wearing top force. That's not how it works.
100%, especially in real estate, right? But it's hard to, because you have all these shows on Netflix and whatever channel now, right? With the
$1 million listings.
$1 million listings, this, that, the other, right? But it doesn't show it shows the glam. Right? It doesn't show the struggle.
They don't show the walkthroughs and the clients fighting with you or whatever, right?
Yeah, it don't show the struggle.
All you do is numbers, calculator. That property is $10 million. Let me see how much they're going to get paid.
Right, and the thing, exactly. And that's cool. That's just what it is, man. It's marketing. I get it. Any of you potential looking for real estate, it's a great industry, great opportunity. There's so much value in it. There's so much upward mobility, generational wealth, but it takes time. It takes a grind. Nothing comes easy. Nothing comes fast. You hear me say this. I preach this all the time, man. We all have our craft, whatever that is, whether it's oil industry, whether it's military, whether it's real estate, whether it's you're selling shoes at goddamn Foot Locker. That's your craft, right? You have to perfect your craft. You have to hone your craft.
Yeah.
You have to work at it. The better you get at it, the better you'll be. Own it. Own that shit and be the fucking best at it.
I would just say, man, for real estate to kind of move up the topic, I would just tell you this. This is tricky because the main attraction of real estate is the fact that you're somewhat an independent person, right? You're your own business. You make up your schedule. That could be the best thing, but it could be the demise to a lot of people that don't have discipline. You can make as much as you want to make, but if you don't treat yourself and your services like an actual business, you're not going to make it.
Right.
You are going to be burnt out in 6 months, or you're going to be known as a shitty agent. Keeping that in mind, you have to embody the fact that you're a company, you're a business, how you want to be looked at, the type of service you want to provide, and what you want people to say on your behalf when they talk about you. That guy is terrible. That guy, whatever, right? He's cocky. He's an asshole. He's this. He's that. He thinks he's whatever. You have to be aware of that and what people think and also how you handle yourself.
It's funny you say business, man. I'm like kind of a nerd sometimes, but I Googled it, right? Most small businesses, they're in the red, meaning they lose money for the first 2 years. Most small businesses that make it, these are successful small businesses, they're not in the green until year 3.
Which is a very small amount of businesses.
That may actually make it.
Right.
So you're operating in real estate, you're a small business. You're your own entity, you're your own business, right? And just be prepared to operate in the red for 2 years. Crazy.
No one knows you.
No.
What have you done to feel like you deserve something? You have to prove yourself
Absolutely.
from the beginning, from the grind.
You're a private, bro. An army. You're an airman.
Right. You're basic.
You ain't got a stripe, man. You ain't got a strap on your shoulders. So
your job is to learn your surroundings and try to learn the job. But as you start moving up, not just stick in that mind frame of, as long as I do this, I know how to survive. You either sink or you keep floating, right? And actually keep on pushing. And that is the difference. If you have a goal and you learn the process, you start thinking of many other ways. The real estate has so many fields you can, right? So many things you can do, from inspections to loan officer, you name it. But it's for those that really want to take advantage.
So